right, so episode 2 starts off with the dramatic scene between Lauren and Joey, which I think we should talk about later because that's literally how the episode ends. Well, right before the final roast. So I think they just put that in the beginning just to grab everyone's attention and to kind of throw everyone off because it was a different type of situation. It was a little funny. But we see him have these little pep talks with Jesse while they're playing tennis. I feel like tennis is such a rich people sport. Like, I definitely didn't grow up playing tennis. Well, I didn't grow up playing any sports, to be fair, but tennis to me, it definitely gives rich people vibes. And I actually used to nanny for a family that were well off. They owned a very successful jewelry business, and they had their kids in tennis, so I would have to take them to their little tennis lessons. But anyways, so after his little tennis pep talk with Jesse, we see them basically get the card for the first group date. And of course, this is the classic group date that they do every season where the girls have to pretend they're getting married to him and they all have to pick out their dresses. So we do see that dress rag fall on Rachel, and we actually do get to see a little bit more of her this episode. I think she's probably gonna go far. I really like her so far. But we see them drive away for their date, and then the camera pans to the remaining girls that didn't get selected for the group date, right? They're all in jeans. Like, not all of them, but most of them. They were all, if you go back and you look at that clip, literally they're all in blue jeans. I was like, that's so funny because what is the cutoff for Gen Z now? I'm a millennial, but I know I've seen so many things online about like millennials versus Gen Z, like on the way they dress. And a lot of them are like, oh, well, Gen Z now show up to the club in literal like jeans and sneakers. That was not much of a thing back then, but I don't go to clubs now, so who knows? I do love a good jean, though. I have like an obsession with jeans. Like, I can never find the right ones, and I have a ton. I have so many jeans, and every year I go through my jeans, and I like donate and donate and donate. Like, I was handing some off to my friend the other day, and she was like, okay, I can't take any more. Like, I don't have any space to put all these jeans. And I'm like, but these are quality jeans. Like, I've never worn these. These are Levi's. Some of them are Zara. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just obsessed with jeans. Anyways, they dress up like they're going to get married. They have their little wedding reception with a bunch of guests who I'm like, how do you even get selected to be one of the guests on this episode? Like, I wish I knew. I should look up that kind of stuff because, I don't live in LA and The Bachelor is filmed in LA. But it would be cool, right, to attend one of these things. I'll never meet the criteria to be on the actual Bachelor, but I could be a guest. I could be in the background. So throughout the reception, we do see him spend time with, have different conversations with most of the girls, except for Lauren, because she's having kind of like a breakdown moment. I guess her dad passed not even a year ago. I think she said it was 7 months ago. And at the time of the filming, at least. And she's like having a hard time because it's kind of like, okay, we're supposed to be pretending we're getting married, and I lost my dad, and my dad will never get to walk me down the aisle. Like, there were a lot of emotional conversations in this episode. That was the first one that we got, and I just felt so bad for her because I can't imagine losing a parent. Can't imagine. I've never been in that position, thankfully, and I can see how that was like a lot for her. And it just seemed very genuine. And Maria really stood out to me because she was really there for her. Like, she was like, Maria so far, I'll get into this later because of the whole situation that happens, but is very much, I feel like, a girl's girl. Like, she was there for her, while she was crying and stuff and being emotional. And I think she's showing that she's someone you can trust and someone you definitely want to be friends with in the house. But towards the end of that, like, wedding date, Maria does pull him. And of course, she was wearing a really cute, like, corset white dress, very cute. But she's like, I need to change into something more comfortable. She comes out. I was like, how is that more comfortable? She's showing her whole stomach. She's like basically like in a bra with sleeves and like a skirt. Very cute. It was really cute, actually. But, she's just trying to, I think, get him excited. And I think it worked because his face when she came out in that. His face throughout his whole like conversation with her in that moment was very much like he definitely did seem into her. He definitely said she keeps him on his toes and she's going to be kind of a handful. And then of course she goes back to the girls in her outfit and everyone's kind of like, why'd you change? Like, why are you wearing that? Now, second emotional moment of the night is Jess, which I very much got the feeling last episode that she was going to be the villain, but I think I was wrong. I'm not entirely sure that she is going to be, because we saw a different side of her, a more emotional, open side to her. She does have a conversation with Joey about her past relationship. And like, you know, she just experienced a lot of infidelity. And, you know, it took her a few years to like build herself back up. I thought it was very touching and it seemed very genuine. You know, sometimes I feel like you have these moments where the contestants get emotional or, you know, open up about certain things and it almost seems scripted or like, oh, they're just doing that to, you know, have more of a story, try to be more liked, whatever. I really felt like every moment in this episode was real. And I felt for her. I felt so bad. And I was like, oh my God, I think I kind of like her. I didn't really like her the first episode. So I love that we got to see that of her. And now I'm just like, okay, maybe she's not the villain. Maybe there's going to be another villain. And we kind of, sort of see that towards the end of the episode. He also opens up to Jess about like his past relationship where he felt that he needed to change who he was for that person. And, you know, me and my friends have, specifically one of my friends, have had this conversation. Like, I don't think you should change who you are to be with someone. I feel like you should change if it's for a positive. Like if you have, you know, depending on what the situation is in your relationship, you should want to change and be a better person in a positive light. Like not change literally who you are and your beliefs or whatever it is just to be with that person. Like you should genuinely want to just be a better person. So they had a little cute moment. I thought it was cute. And finally, at the end of the night, Lauren does open up to Joey about why she wasn't as present and basically, you know, the loss of her dad and how that affected her. And good for her. Good for her for opening up and letting him know, like, this is what's going on and this is why I'm acting this way. So the rose for the night goes to Jess, which I think was well deserved. I think she opened up and we all got to see a side of her, a different side of her. Daisy gets the first one-on-one, which no surprise there. I think everyone saw that one coming. And she tells the girls that, you know, she's on this date. She's finally going to tell Joey. I mean, not finally. She hasn't really been there that long. But she's going to open up to him and let him know, like, about her hearing loss and her cochlear implant. For their one-on-one date, they go on a helicopter ride. No surprise. They always got to include that in at least one of the dates. They're going to, I think, some festival. I didn't know what it was. It was Beach Life Ranch. I've never heard of it. They had their little kiss on the helicopter ride there. So she starts talking to him about her non-profit, but doesn't really say exactly what it is. You know, she kind of dances around it and says that, like, it just, I guess they were having such a good day. It just wasn't the right moment to come out and just say it then. And I think they said that the performer was the Bahamas. I literally didn't know who that was. Don't know who that is. That's what it sounded like she said. So they went on stage and they danced. I saw some, I don't know what it is. A lot of the artists that they get to perform on The Bachelor, I never knew who they are, like ever. So later on their date, he does ask her, like, tell me more about the nonprofit. Because again, she didn't really say much. Like she said sort of what it was about, but not really. And she just starts basically opening up and saying, she talks about seizures. So I guess around the age of 11, she started to get really sick. And she finds out that she has Lyme disease. Now, when she said that, I was like, whoa, because I've seen a few celebrities who have Lyme disease. I believe Justin Bieber has it. Who also? Bella Hadid has it. But what stuck out to me was that Lyme disease, I didn't really know much about it. I knew that some celebrities had it. But I live in the Bay Area, right? I'm from California, I live in the Bay Area. And in the Bay Area, we had a well known radio host. His name was JV. And he has his own uh, radio channel podcast called The JV Show. And actually, oh my God, it's crazy because in February, it'll be a year since he passed. But basically, he disappeared from the airwaves for about a year. I think it was about a year. It was something like that. It was almost a year or something like that. And obviously, he had other co-hosts on there, and they would just say that he was gone. It was him and his wife. They both left the show for about a year or so, and they would never touch on why he was gone. They would just say he's gone. When he comes back, he will talk to you guys about what was going on and all stuff. So it was so super mysterious, right? I was like, what is going on? Because I would listen to them every morning. I was like, that's so weird. I was like imagining a whole bunch of different stuff. Turns out when he comes back, he opens up about him having Lyme disease. And I mean, he wrote the most lengthy post on it. He talked in depth about what he was going through and a lot of dark thoughts, a lot of things like that. And it just sounded horrible. It sounded so terrible. And he basically came back on the airwaves for, I think, a few more months after that. And then last February, he took his own life. And he openly talked about having those thoughts and openly talked about how he struggled because of what the disease was doing to him and to his brain. And I just learned so much about Lyme disease, and it made me so paranoid because basically you get Lyme disease from ticks, right? So, but it's not just any tick. It has to be like a specific kind of tick that is carrying the disease. And so I'm super just, it was just so sad. I get so sad just even thinking about it now and having it be almost a year from his passing. But it really opened my eyes to like what Lyme disease is. And so when she said that, I was just like, wow. Like, I can't imagine. I know that not everyone is going to have it to the same degree. Obviously, JV had it bad. And it's something, what's scary is that it's something that can stay dormant in your body until it's ready. I don't know, until something triggers it. I'm not sure. So JV was, I think, in his 50s. He didn't look it. He looked great for his age. But yeah, so it's just very sad. And hearing her say that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she has Lyme disease. But she talks about so her hearing loss, it's a little confusing because she says she has Lyme disease. So I'm like, did the Lyme disease somehow trigger the hearing loss? Like, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if that's how it works. But she did go to Germany to get treatment. She said she spent 30 days there in the hospital. She lost a ton of her hair, lost a ton of weight. And, yeah, I guess with the treatment there, it sounds like she got better, and she's healthier now, and now she has a cochlear implant. But I loved the way she carried the conversation, and I love that Joey was very like attentive, and he was just like, okay, he heard her out, and he didn't treat her differently after her coming out and saying that. Not that he should at all, but I think some people might have been like a little taken back, and he seemed to take it pretty well, and we love that for them. All right, so the group date, we see Demi, good old Demi. We see Jubilee. I know Jubilee's from, I think, Ben Higgins' season, and I think Demi was from Clayton's. But they've been around a while. We know who they are. And I think they have this like boot camp. They make the girls go through this boot camp. And I think they might have chosen Jubilee because she was, I believe, I hope I'm right about this, I think she was like in the army. She was in something like that. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. But the girls are split into two groups, pink and blue. The winners get extra time with Joey. And it was like paintball, but it wasn't with the paintball gun. When I saw that it was paintball, I was like, wait a second. I've never done paintball, but I've heard and seen that it can leave you like super bruised. But looks like they were throwing it with their hands, and they had this little like machine that they could throw it with, but it wasn't anything crazy. So they basically just had to get like one of the hearts, one of the pink hearts onto the blue side, blue onto pink, and whoever got the highest score would win a date. Except they tricked them and told them whoever wins, right, is going to get extra time with Joey. But it was actually just one of the girls in that team would get extra time. And the girl that got it was Edwina. And she, well deserved, because she is the one that got the first. Did she get more than one? I can't remember. But she was going hard. So I was like, okay, she definitely deserves to be the one that gets to spend that extra time with him because she put in the most effort. It's only fair. Again, another emotional moment with Edwina. She talks about her upbringing, growing up in an African household, being the first child, having to clean and take care of the kids and be the mom of the house. And it's crazy how that is typically what happens when you are the first child. She touches on her parents' sacrifice, failure not being an option, having younger siblings that look up to her. And I just couldn't relate anymore. Like my parents came here, immigrated, and failure is not an option. You have to make something of your life because you don't want your parents to ever think or feel like they went through everything they went through for nothing. Like they committed a big sacrifice and it was all for like your well-being. So definitely could relate on that one. Again, all these emotional conversations, I was like crying in like literally every single one. The Medina drama was something else. I don't even know if you can really call it drama because the whole thing between Medina, Maria, and Sydney was left field. I don't know what's going on. But basically, Medina makes a comment about how, like, she's 31 and she basically, I guess, is feeling down on her age. Joey, I had to look up his age. I was like, how old is he? He's 28. You're not that much older than Joey. I'm 31, okay? I'm 31. Oh, my God, I'm 31. Okay. So she makes that comment, and I guess Maria is like, she's just kind of like, what? Like, not directly to Medina's face, but like she's telling the other girls, like, that's not old. Like, own it, be proud of it. Like, that's not old. And somehow, some way, Sydney takes it, like interprets that to be something negative that Maria was saying and turns absolutely nothing into something. So when Maria gets wind of Medina being upset about what she said, she tries to talk to her. That was a weird interaction, I feel, with her, because she was just like, I don't want to talk. Like, I have things that I want to say to Joey. And it was weird. I was like, what was going on? I don't understand. It sounded weird. So then naturally Maria goes up to the girls and it's like, okay, so which one of y'all told her something? Because it's not, like, you're interpreting things wrong. And then Sydney owns up to it. She's like, well, yeah, I told her. And then they're going this kind of back and forth. But it's just like Maria the whole time is literally like trying to explain, like, how does me saying that 31 is not old, how are you interpreting that as like me talking shit, as like me trying to turn this into something else? It was so bizarre. It truly was. I think Maria even says, like, this is like the dumbest fight ever in Bachelor history. And I'm like, period. Because literally, I didn't understand. I was like, I'm so lost. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand how this is a fight. I don't think Maria is to blame at all in this. I don't think she did absolutely anything wrong, but yet her words are getting taken out of context. And it was weird, guys. It was so weird. It almost seemed like, to me, like Sydney, almost like the producers gassed Sydney up into believing that this was something that it's not. And we're like, you need to create a fight out of this. Because truly, I can't explain it. I don't have any other explanation for like what happened there. It doesn't make absolutely any sense. And the episode ends with the Lauren like meltdown. I'm sad. I'm honestly sad Lauren went like home because I liked her and I thought she was funny, and I wish she would have stayed a little longer. But she's basically like, she's definitely one of those people, it seems like when she's in a mood, she's like, I just, like, I can't. Like, I'm in a mood, like, don't talk to me. Like, which I can sometimes be. But if you're literally on the show and you're there to date him, clearly she wasn't there to date him. And that's totally fine, because I feel like half the people that go on these shows really just do it for the experience, for like the fame that you do get when you're on the show. And maybe she was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to give it a try. But I don't think you would react that way if you were really trying to stay and you were really interested in him. So I think she was just kind of like, whatever, you know, it is what it is. I don't need to be here. And Joey, like, his face when she tells him that she's leaving, he's just like, what? Like, what do you even mean? I love it though. She tells him, maybe I'll see you at hometowns. That's so funny. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that connection with her sister yet. So I'm not sure if she would. She also says, if my dad was here, he'd tell me, I told you not to go on that show. And I was like, I love that, because you were just having such like a sad moment thinking about your dad, and then you bring up this little humor of something he would have said had he been here. I thought that was funny. I really like her. I wish she would have stayed longer. I don't know why she was going on about a red velvet cake, but I guess she wanted a red velvet cake, and in the end, she didn't get it. I also feel like the producers told her to throw the cake to the ground, but maybe she did that on her own. But yeah, that was basically it. Ends with the rose ceremony, and we see a bit of a preview to the next episode, and we do see the Sydney. This isn't even about Medina at this point. This is about Sydney and Maria. That drama carry on. Sydney goes to talk to him, tells him all about Maria, and again, I hope he doesn't send Maria home over this, because that would be insane. I think he's going to send one of them home. And I think in this case, it should be Sydney, because I think she's creating a whole bunch of commotion for no reason. But we'll see how that plays out. I truly don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, this was my episode 2 recap to The Bachelor. And I will be back next week. Bye.